Welcome back. Good morning, LaLa Land. We are so excited to talk about love, sex, relationships, and dating, all the above. We have Andrea Syrtesh here today. How are you?
I'm great.
I'm so excited.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here.
Oh my gosh, I did so much research on you. You are the bomb. You are all over the place, and you've got, I love the titles of your book. Can I just please read out the titles real quick, okay? Because they are great titles. So, He's Just Not Your Type, and that's a good thing. Next book, Cheat on Your Husband with Your Husband. I love that. We're going to hear about that. And she's a co-author of It's Okay to Sleep with Him on the First Date. Yeah, I want to hear all
that. Well, the second part of the title is And Every Other Rule Debunked. So it's about debunking dating rules that are outdated.
This is our girl. We finally
we have these conversations all the time.
You do,
yeah. So we are happy to have you on the show.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. And it's never boring to talk about love and relationships, right? So there's a lot to talk about.
So I want to know, how did you become the expert?
I accidentally became the expert. I was on the radio after one of my books. This was a long time ago. In 2005, I worked on a book called How to Survive Dating. And I was one of many journalists interviewing people across the country. And I was stuck on the radio because the publisher said, "You're more extroverted, let's put you on air." And the announcer on the radio station said, "We're so lucky to be joined by a dating expert." And I thought, that's so cool, there's a dating expert here.
Who's that?
Who is that? And then
no pressure.
I waited, and Andrea Syrtesh. So I was answering love and dating questions live on air for an hour. This was 2005. At this point, I've interviewed thousands of people and written books, and now I really feel like I'm credible, not clinical. I don't pretend to be a therapist, but I'm a journalist. So
I love that. Research
advice.
I'm a total geek at heart, so I completely relate. That's amazing. So I wanted to dive into in love versus being in love, because you have a scene like where you do multiple things, where you're on purple couches on OWN, and then you have all these things. And one of the great conversations you had was being in love versus,
falling in love and being in love.
There you go. Okay, yeah.
You're right.
So different.
It is different.
So different.
Well,
chemically.
You guys know, everybody knows it's different, but it's actually chemically different in your brain as well. So in the first kind of stage of love, we're high on all these wonderful love cocktails in our brain.
That's
like
my drug
dopamine.
Of choice.
Oh, we are all addicted to that. And we're actually wired to be addicted to that high that we get when we first meet someone and click, because nature wants us to get together. But after about, on average, 1 to 3 years, everything subsides. You start noticing morning breath. And that's why I wrote Cheat on Your Husband with Your Husband, because being in love and falling in love are different. And the good news is being in love is just as exciting and fulfilling, and actually oftentimes more fulfilling, but we have to keep up the play to make it exciting sometimes.
It's so interesting, because I have so many friends, and I've found myself in previous relationships chasing that high.
Yes.
You know, and so what do you say to those folks that are chasing that high? You know, what is the sort of difference in terms of, finding that fulfilling second stage?
Yes. Absolutely. I mean, we all do it. And I often say, I think it's okay sometimes when you're married to have a crush. It's a controversial article I wrote a few years ago. People said, "Why is she saying that?" But we're human. We're going to crush on people. We're going to chase that high of new love. Just to know, everybody experiences this attachment phase where it changes. But there are ways to kind of trick your brain into having those feelings again. One of the quickest ways is introducing novelty on a regular basis.
What do you mean by that?
So think about when you travel with your partner. Things are exciting. You have more of a romantic vibe because you're out of your usual routine and you're out of your general, everything you do all the time. It's different. And when you do new things with your partner, your brain actually activates some of those feelings again. So your brain thinks maybe the love is new, not just that you're in a new place. It's the quickest way.
So you're saying travel is good for the juju.
Good for the juju, but even if it's literally not going to your neighborhood restaurant, just getting outside your area on date night, that even helps. Just trying new things together is a great way.
It's so hard, because in long-term relationships that I've been in, once you get into that comfort zone, you do comfortable things together, go to the same place, you have your routines, and it's hard to even decide to choose something novel sometimes when you're that stuck in it.
And it's comforting to do the routine, and I'm all about, listen, I live in New York where it's winter now, and I don't feel like getting off the couch with my husband. But
Yeah,
we
sometimes
make an
you'd rather
effort.
choose to be
and
comfortable.
that's fine sometimes, but when we want to feel that spark
Right.
again, that excitement, I do challenge us to do something a little bit different and new, and it really helps.
So I have a real question for you,
Yes.
Andrea. So if somebody is in LA and they want to find a mate, they want to find somebody to potentially marry, should they go for somebody that they have that I'm falling in love with, or should they, because I always think it needs to have a higher purpose, whether it be, making a difference in the world, maybe it's to have children, whatever that higher purpose is for that. Because I truly believe that fantasy, that romanticism, it does go away sometimes. And so what do you think people should look for?
It's so hard because falling in love is such a beautiful thing, and but I often say during the first few months of dating, everyone's lying. They just don't know they are.
Thank you. I mean, honestly, thank you
So
for
you
saying
have
that.
to
I
be,
mean, really.
you really
Yeah.
have to be aware with your eyes open without planning the rest of your life within the first 5 minutes because someone fits into the picture of what you have in your head. The reason I wrote He's Just Not Your Type, and that's a good thing. And by the way, my husband, big spoiler alert, wasn't my type at all. This
Oh,
was
wow.
11 years
Really?
ago.
Oh, wow.
He was my friend, the last person I thought I'd
Interesting.
marry. But I had so much fun with him. And the last line of that book is, date someone you would want to be with if nobody else was looking.
Oh.
Because so often we make decisions in love based on shoulds, what other people would think, what we feel we should do, not really listening to our gut, our heart. So that's really what the book's about, changing patterns and listening to the deeper.
So we should all date our best friend, marry our best friends. Is that what
I
you're
mean,
saying?
not necessarily.
I'm going over there.
Not necessarily, but I have a checklist. That's so funny. I have a checklist. I did this article for Oprah.com a few years ago called the Must-Have Can't Stand list, and that's the easiest checklist to do. I think to kind of boil down to what are your true values and how are you going to find that in a partner? Because once you know really what you're looking for in terms of shared values, then all the other superficial stuff.
But do you think that being best friends is more important, or to have the same values?
You need, okay, so one of the exercises I have is called the 4 essential ingredients that your
Tell me
partner,
more.
and I will
I
tell
know.
you what that
Let me get out my
what that
notes right
is.
now. She's got some good shit.
4 essentials.
The four essentials. So is the person you're with a good lover, partner, companion, and friend? And you have to check off all 4
Wow,
boxes.
that's a good one.
So it's not enough if someone's a good friend if you don't have a sexual spark.
Yeah,
Let me
right?
ask you this though: do they have to maintain the 4 essentials at all times? Because I feel like in relationships there's a set and a flow, and
Do
sometimes
we have a
it's 3
personal
out of
experience
4.
here?
Sometimes it's 3 out of 4, and then it's like it shifts. Maybe it's the friendship isn't as weighted as it is the lover or the partner.
Yeah, I mean, there are going to be times where your partner can't show up as your companion for every event, or isn't, you're not having a sexy month. That's fine, but over time, you should feel that the person you're with checks those boxes, because I've heard so many people say, I can't leave this person. I'm in a terrible relationship, but I love him, and I'll ask a simple question: do you like him? Do you like yourself with him?
Ooh, there's some real
Everything.
questions.
Oh my
And
gosh.
these are the important questions.
And I love this concept, I love this idea. Do you think that it's also necessary or even preferred that your partner does the same thing? Should they also fill out the checklist? Because what if, you meet all of their criteria, but they don't meet yours, or vice versa? How does that work?
Well, you
Great
need
question.
to also show up as a good lover, partner, companion, and friend. But one thing, a big misconception is that you and your partner need to be carbon copies, and that's a really boring relationship. So,
Like
it's
your husband wasn't your type.
No, and the happiest couples, now I've interviewed so many. I mean, on the Oprah Winfrey show, I hosted a show for OWN
Wow.
a few years
Nice.
ago. I interviewed hundreds of people and asked them kind of the secret sauce for marriage. And people said, for the most part, we have an active life together and a dynamic life apart.
Interesting.
So there was that
Fascinating.
balance. It wasn't just everything together all the time.
So we talked about, we had a conversation the other day, and Jessalyn was saying, we're talking about first dates and having the conversation and how deep you should get in the questions like that. So I'm wondering, and Jessalyn was like, I don't think we should go that deep on the first date. So I'm asking, if you're talking about making sure you have values in, how would that look? When do you start bringing those up, in your opinion? When would
Yes.
you start bringing up those topics to make sure like I'm not wasting their time, I'm not wasting my time?
Well, the biggest advice I have is to listen to the gut, because a lot of times when people, even in early dates, there are subtle cues, as we always hear how he or she treats a waitress, or
right.
So there are subtle cues even early on without having to ask squarely in someone's face, do you want kids in the next 4 years? Because on a first date's a first meeting, you want to keep it kind of light.
Yeah, he's like,
and I don't want to
check.
make any like harsh judgments.
No.
There is something to be said about intuition, but it's like I don't want to judge too harshly or make assumptions.
Yeah.
And that's kind of hard
That's
to
right.
differentiate between what my intuition is saying about a person and what I'm assuming about
It's
them.
such a great question. So yeah, how do you do that? How do you get out of your own way and hear your intuition more deeply?
I think you should be what I call your vacation self on a date. So think about what you're like on vacation. You're generally
vacation
you can.
self.
I'm so
gonna
late.
always be vacation self. Every day is vacation self.
Whenever I say this to a single person, they get it right away. And I even say it to couples: be your vacation self on date night, because on vacation you're present. You're not overanalyzing. You're not in here. There's an old joke that people are looking on the menu on a first date. Can I really marry this person? Like you're thinking
Forecasting.
chicken or fish, but you're like a million steps ahead. On vacation, you're in the moment.
You're like, shut! Wait, I don't know.
Well, depends which vacation you're on.
I really don't drink that much, but my old self.
Spring break. No, but basically you want to just get on vacation. You're not over analyzing, and you take risks, and you're out of your comfort zone, and that's the energy you want to have on an early date.
Love that. You know what I want to hear more about too is how this whole idea of cheating on your husband with your husband.
I like that one.
It's so interesting to me. Can you talk to me a little bit about
Sure.
that?
Yeah, so when I got married, my frustration at this point, I had been working on dating books and in the field interviewing people, and it felt like everything in the bookstore was relationship rescue. And I thought, I don't need rescue. I just want renewal, because after a few years, rain changes, right?
That's what we fear as single people.
Yeah, I mean, so I just cheat on your husband with your husband is light self-help. It's not heavy. I need to rescue you. It's exercises and just a way to be more present in your vacation self.
Do you
and your
cheat
partners.
on your husband with your husband?
I try. I don't always. Sometimes Michael. Sometimes my husband's like page 90s. You're not
That's the
really
hard
doing
part about
that.
writing those books.
Yeah,
remembered
exactly.
The
No, I'm
other
not always doing
a viral video that she worked on. Hello. So there's this video, and it's, okay. So it was called help me out. Some
I
meditation.
can tell you, orgasmic meditation.
Orgasmic meditation. Okay. So it's a video on kind of I don't know if it's a movement.
I do not practice it, to be honest, but I'm a journalist and I cover the world of relationships, and this is one thing that in New York that's very
So
popular.
in the video and the practices, and I'm thinking I want to forward this to every man that I know in the world, that basically this is kind of explicit, so if you have children you might want to put them in the other room for a minute, but basically the man touches the woman's clitoris for 15 minutes without the goal of an orgasm per se, but literally just having that experience. And I'm thinking if every man knew this, they would solve all sexual issues around the globe, okay? So tell me about how you got involved with that video.
Well, from minute one of my career, I like to explore. I always say I challenge conventional wisdom.
She wasn't in the video, but
okay. You know what's funny, Erin? I was originally in the video and I looked like a pervert.
I saw Jocelyn's face and she was like,
Originally, I was in the video watching the orgasmic meditation. It looked really like it looked bizarre.
No.
So we cut me out.
Yeah.
But I was there for it. No, but from minute one of my career, I've said about my brand, I challenge conventional wisdom with common sense. Mm-hmm. So I explore things that are happening all around us, but sometimes, issues people that seem a little taboo. It's okay to sleep with them on the first date and every other rule of dating debunked. Listen, every TV show I've been on, a producer at some point has said, I did that with my husband. And there are all these rules in life and love that actually in real time with real people I've spoken to do not apply. So that's what I'm trying to always
It's
fight
so
against.
interesting though, because there are so many expectations and standards we try and compare our relationships to, and then naturally I always feel like I'm failing.
Well, that's the should. So I have a chapter in one of my books called Stop Shoulding All Over Yourself. Mm-hmm. And if you replace the word should with the word want, you're going to live and love more authentically. So what do you want? Do you want to be with this person, or do you think you should be That's a powerful question.
It's such a powerful question. It sounds like so much of it is letting go of the expectations that other people have for you in your life, right? Yeah.
And that's hard.
What about the expectations for yourself, though? I don't care about what you're thinking. I care about what
Well, okay, here's the litmus test. People will say, I don't want to compromise. I dedicated the book to women who should, and men for that matter, but women who should never settle when they settle down. So it's not about settling to change your list up a bit and focus on values. You're actually going deeper with what's important. And I think, the quickest litmus test is, does this person, am I a good version of myself or not? I mean, it's as simple as that with the person I'm with. And so he or she could have every single quality you think you want, but if you can't check that box that I'm a good person, he's bringing out the best in me, it's not your match, period. With friends too, with anyone
right?
we're with.
I mean, we don't have too much more time, but I was actually just having a conversation with a girlfriend this morning, and she was talking about kind of an upset that her and her boyfriend got into. And I said, well, this is exactly why I don't necessarily believe in what we've been programmed around relationship, because I truly believe that he's never going to make he can never be the God that you want him to be, put it that way. And you can never be somebody that he's going to please.
You're
like, we're women, you're breathing, something's going to bother us, right? And so I truly believe that we need to almost like debunk the entire thing and get okay with being totally good with ourselves to even be able to have the potential of having a good relationship.
You're 100% right, because it's always going to start with you. A fulfilling relationship, you need to feel connected to what fulfills you. I mean,
so it's challenging as a dating relationship.
But I will say, my Aunt Dorothy, and rest in peace, she recently died, but she was so wise. And when I first met Michael, well, I met him as my friend, but when I was falling in love with him and it was freaking me out because he wasn't my type, I said to her, well, I don't think, there's so many imperfections, and she said, perfect is boring. And if you start from perfect, you have nowhere to go. Wow. And that was powerful.
That's the mantra. That's
it is.
The hashtag, the tweet of the day.
It's, are you a good version of yourself? You can grow together.
You start with perfect, there's nowhere to go from there.
And I imagine that's really fantastic advice, especially here in LA, where so many people are frustrated because they just say they can't find any available or interesting men or women out there in the world.
Yeah, well, here's the good news. I get emails every single day from amazing single people. There are more singles than ever before, so it's an exciting time to be single.
Exciting.
And now we get married because we want to, not because we need to.
Right.
And that's a major paradigm shift. A lot is happening in the world of love and relationships that is exciting. We have more opportunities to meet people, so it's good.
It's a great time.
We're at a good time.
So on that note, we kind of got to wrap up, but I just want to give a shout out to Emily Raper, because we met, and I'm so impressed with everything that you've been up to. Like, you've been all over the place. Good Morning America, you've been on OWN, you've been all over, and Emily, and that's how we met. Emily Raper's amazing. She did my reel for dating stuff also. Give her a huge shout out for her, amazing woman.
Love Emily.
Yay, we love Emily. And I want to know, where can everyone find you across social media?
So they can find me. I also have a site I just want to quickly shout out for those who are on the infertility journey and managing the relationships during that is also really tough. So that's pregnantish.com, and my personal site is andreasyrtesh.com, and I'm sure up here you guys will post my name, and
yes, of course.
I'm the only one in the world with my name. So
that's huge. I've got like 3,000 with my name. You have no idea. That's just in this state.
I love the word
pregnant-ish. A little bit pregnant.
Yeah. So awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. I'm so excited to watch your journey, and I think it's an exciting time in the conversation of dating, relationships, and love, right?
Absolutely.
So, thanks you guys, and have a great day. And we'll be right back with Good Morning La La Land. Stay tuned.